missed you.
I missed you.
It's been a long...
Eva, I missed you.
Oh. I didn't miss Eva. I missed you, though.
Oh,
Just
okay.
kidding. I really missed Eva a lot, too. I kept telling my mom, you're going to meet Eva. And she's like, okay. And I was like, no, you need to be more excited. Because I'm a crazy person.
We haven't seen each other for quite some time now.
We were both with our mothers. You were in a more exciting place at a wedding of your mothers.
I was at my mother's wedding.
Linda is now for sure and married. God,
Yeah, she
I'm
is.
still trying to make it happen.
A lot of people clearly listen because people on Instagram were hashtagging that on the picture that I put up.
I'm telling you.
It's a for sure thing.
I make big waves.
Well, yes, she is hitched. And I now...
Did you develop a new accent?
Yep, it's Southern, actually. It's cat Southern. No, I now have a new stepdad.
Oh, hi,
officially.
Tom. Wait, can we talk about how your stepdad's name is Tom and mine is Tim, and that's the most...
Yeah, it's just
Stepdad.
another reason why we should be best friends.
It's the most I thought you were saying another reason why we drink. I was like, yeah, for sure,
right.
man. I can't stop myself.
I can't stand you.
I love me.
Yeah, we haven't seen each other in quite a while, and
It's
so
been forever.
we saw each other yesterday for the first time in like a week, which in our friendship is like a century.
I actually walked in the house and saw them in my living room. I saw Em and Allison in my living room, and I just started yelling, and they looked at me like, why are you shouting? And I was like, because I'm so excited. And they're like, Allison's like, how much have you had to drink? And I was like, nothing. I'm just so fucking excited to see your faces.
Speaking of Allison, can we all give her a little round of applause because she really handled the hell out of my family.
I still haven't asked her because I want her to come off. I want her to have a rest.
Rock and rolled.
Good for her. I knew she would.
I know, but it's also like very overwhelming, like 150
yeah.
Jewish people mainly. We're very in your face and nosy, and everyone wants to get to know her at the same time.
The first time most people met her, right?
Yeah, she knew one of my aunts, and she knew my mom. And
Wait,
Tom.
was one of your aunts Monica?
One of them is Monica. She did not meet Monica before.
Monica added me on Facebook today.
Yeah, and Monica apparently went the rounds and added a lot of people.
Hey, I was like, I wasn't even there, but thanks.
No, she knew Andrea. My mom has two sisters, and all of their names end with an A.
Oh, sure.
Monica, Linda, Andrea. But so Allison knew Andrea, and they're not that they were super close or anything, but they knew each other well enough that if she needed to run away at any point, she could have gone to my Aunt Andrea.
You always need that person at a wedding to be like, oh my God, there you are.
And during Christmas, she met my hometown friends, so she knew she could run to them too. So she knew some people, but when it came to all my immediate, my extended family, she really nailed it. And there were a lot of people.
She's such a charming girl, though.
I know.
Everyone she doesn't like when I say girl. She's a charming woman.
Everyone, no pressure to me, kept pulling me aside being like, oh, so you're going to marry her, right? And I was like,
oh yeah. Allison kept saying, everyone called me their in-law.
Yeah. The second my grandpa met her we were at a restaurant and ordered, I think, for her and was like, oh, my granddaughter would like this. And I was like,
Allison is that way though. She's like the most charming human. I remember when she met like my stepdad and family, and we brought this up yesterday because she came over and my stepdad was here, and he's like, I don't think I've seen you since I moved Christina into DC when she was 18, like literally 10 years ago. And I just remember like Allison was just like the life of my family's evening, like getting really frozen yogurt. She really does. She's so good at it. She's so charming and smiley.
I know.
I love her.
How she got me.
Oh, what a gem.
Also, our anniversary was this week.
Yeah, well, our anniversary was 2 weeks ago. Not yours and mine. Allison's and mine.
Okay, but this was also the anniversary of the raging UTI. So I don't know if you remember that, but I sure do. As we all just might. So
and literally everyone remembers that.
That was a good time. No, it wasn't. That was the worst time possible.
No, it was a terrible time.
I remember hyperventilating in the car, truly thinking not only was I dying, but on my first date with my girlfriend, I was peeing my pants and she was watching it happen. And I remember wincing for an entire hour in the woods because we were lost trying to find a hospital. And I was just telling her, one day this will be really funny. It's just not today. I
remember when you came and relayed the story on the podcast, and I was sitting there like,
oh, it was
because all I kept getting was texts like, just wait for the recording. And then you were like, yeah, I just kept sitting there muttering to myself, one day it'll be funny. And the day has come, and it's hilarious. The day has
come. But wow, I've truly, there are a few times in my life where I was convinced I was going to die. But that was the only time I was ever convinced I was going to die, and I was convinced I was peeing my pants.
Makes my body hurt.
It was just the worst. So that's that.
Well, I'm glad that you're okay. I'm glad you're still together after that travesty. You guys started off.
You can't break up after that. She's seen too much.
Too late. You can't let her leave.
I knew her for maybe a week, and I was like, I'm peeing and you're watching. I'm sorry.
In the woods.
Just in my car, in my pants. And she even told me, I remember the conversation. She was like, look, I know we're new, but if you need to pee your pants, I understand.
I mean, but that's when you know someone's like the real fucking deal.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. And you guys are two of my best friends. So I'm very happy. And I'm just so happy. That's all. Speaking of injuries, Gio also injured himself this week. So it seems to be one of those times.
Mercury's in retrograde, I hear.
Scorpios are struggling. I guess Allison's not. What is Allison?
She's a Libra.
Oh, duh.
She's not suffering.
You wouldn't date a Scorpio. What am I talking about?
Come on.
So Gio got a thorn that apparently went, and Blaze didn't tell me, and I only found out today because he fucking didn't tell me, which he thinks is good because then I won't freak out. But then I found out later, and then I get 10 times more freaked out. The thorn went into his paw like 5 days ago, and then went all the way through his paw, like to the top, like through the pad, all the way to the top, through the top of his foot, and then got infected. And I was like, he's hurt. And Blaze is like, no, he's just fine. And apparently he was just saying that to comfort me. And I'm like, don't fucking comfort me. Take him to the goddamn vet. He did take him to the vet. They shaved his little paw. Oh. And they sedated him and stitched him up. And he came home and just kind of was really drugged out for a while and really drunk on anesthesia. And he had his cone and he kept walking into every doorway. And Juniper kept trying to climb into the cone and sit in it. And it was just but today he came home and had his like cast off and he had it all shaved and there was like a big cut and I just burst into tears like, my baby. And my mother's visiting and she's like, God damn it. Like she goes, I'm literally gonna have to move to California when you have kids because you can't do it. Like you can't even handle your dog getting a thorn in his paw. And I'm like, I can't. So that's why I drank this week.
I felt too far apart from Gio. He got injured while I was away, and so apparently our worlds aligned, and the spirits said I needed to also be injured, and so I broke 2 of my toes while I was home.
Fucking hell, Em.
So me and Gio are one once again.
And Em sent me a real nasty text saying, like, you do not take care of my nephew.
I was like, not that way. Not like this. Not here.
And that got a lot of attention, which I didn't like.
You posted it.
I know. I thought it would be funny, and then everyone was like, yeah, Em's right. Take custody. And I was like, what? No, that's not what I meant. I was like, no, Em's the crazy one. And they're like, no, Em needs to take custody of Gio. And I was like, this is
sweet babu.
Anyway, that's all I got. Also, just want to add before we get started that we're coming to Nashville in less than a freaking month, which we're so pumped.
August 3rd and August 4th.
We're dragging Eva with us.
Yes. She seems excited about the dragging.
She's also forced to be with us in a super hot room, so who knows what she's really thinking.
Yeah, for everything that we've amounted to, Christine still does not have air conditioning in her house, and I'm truly disgusted by it.
There is, but you just can't blast it because it'll mess up the microphones. It's for our listeners. We're suffering for them.
I hate it.
Well, find me another podcast studio and we'll go there. Jesus Christ. Also, we're going to Nashville. All the VIP tickets are sold out. So if you guys want to grab a ticket, please do because they're going fast, apparently. August 3rd and 4th. Go to our website and then hit tour. And then we just signed up to do a show in Hollywood again in
September 23rd.
Yes, correct. And it's a 7:30 on a Sunday. And this one, actually, we're not doing like live meetups with like just like kind of out in the open anymore. So we're actually doing kind of like more contained ones. So if you guys want to get like a VIP or dinner ticket, those are available and those have not sold out yet. So go grab those while you can.
And we will be selling merch?
I think so. I think so.
We're going to be selling merch at that one because we haven't sold merch yet at a live show.
Yeah.
But I do want to say we're sorry that we're no longer doing the live meetups after the fact. It just became very mentally taxing.
And like security wise, it wasn't a good idea.
Yes.
It's
getting to a point where now we just have to think about our safety. So
yeah. And our like mental sanity because we were staying out till 2 a.m. on a work night and
yes,
just really suffering.
Yes. So
and we love you very much.
So it's not you, it's us.
It's not you.
We can't do it anymore. So hence the VIP tickets. We still want to meet you guys. We just have to do it in a more structured way. So
and Blaze's Aunt Lisa Lampanelli, the comedian, was just like, you're not fucking doing that anymore. You're going to get stabbed. And I was like, uh-oh.
So anyway. I mean, we do have a show about true crime, so
I was like, that'd be
let's
good.
Find out the hard way.
That'd be a good episode, but no, yeah, we're not allowed to do it anymore.
Yeah,
but
it'll be a good episode when I have to be on here by myself, and I'm like, Eva, you want to join on because we need an understudy.
What if Eva plans it all so she can take over?
Oh, there it is.
This is a great story.
Yes,
let's write a novel.
Eva, write that down.
Also, you got to post it, and that's where we draw pics. Because if I get one more fucking private message about that, I will.
I know.
Kill everyone.
I know.
Now it's too late. Like people are just like. Forget.
I know.
Or just send them to me and I'll post them.
Okay. Well, okay. I'll try text. Listen, my phone is the most fucked up thing on earth. I can't post things on Instagram. To post
Don't
both
tell
of the
me. Tell the listeners.
listeners, to post the last 2 pictures on Instagram, I had to steal my mom's phone and post them on Instagram because my phone no longer lets me do anything
just
with
send me your
pictures.
photos. Okay, we'll figure it out, but they're coming. Just stop
Yes.
yelling at me, everybody.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Not you, everybody else.
Sorry.
Also, Priscilla, this may or may not make into the episode depending on what happens by Sunday. Priscilla, one of our mods who's like helped us a lot and gave us the I love lump / I love lump lamp wine glass and all that good stuff.
And the Infinity Gauntlet cup.
So she found a dog on the way home in Anaheim on the way home from work, and he doesn't have a microchip or a collar or anything, and they're looking for a home so he doesn't get euthanized. So if you go into our Facebook group and look up Priscilla Hernandez, she has posted about him. She's going to let me know whether to keep this in on Sunday or not, and I'll just be like, Eva, take it out, or Eva, put it in.
Okay.
So that's that. Anyway, I'm ready for a ghost story because I've missed them so very much.
Okay. Well,
unless you have anything else to say.
No.
Great.
I don't think so. Oh, well, yes, one thing. Before we forget, we are doing our Facebook Live on the 22nd this month.
I always forget to mention that. So
July 22nd.
it's a Sunday.
So it's a Sunday, and it'll be at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.
Correct.
And
We'll make an event for it in the group.
But just so everyone is aware in advance, because usually we tell you literally
The day of.
the day of, assuming you listen to the show
And then
before you
everyone's
find
like,
us.
wait, I didn't know. And we were like, that's our bad.
Christine, nice boobs.
Thank you. They're great, aren't they? So here's the thing. I got a bra from ThirdLove that I love very much, and they have the perfect fit. They actually use thousands of real women's measurements, and they design their bras with breast size and shape in mind so that they fit impeccably and feel even better. They actually have, they just added 24 new sizes, so they're actually the industry.
Oh, my.
I know. And so they're the industry leader with a total of 70 sizes.
And quality in every stitch, I presume.
Yes, every stitch. So the details make the difference, as you know, all of our bra-wearing listeners. They have premium fabrics. They're expertly designed. And the greatest part is that you take like a quiz online. So you take like a quiz about your breast shape, your size, and everything. And then you can try them on at home. And you don't have to like go to, the lingerie store and have them measure you and look at it and prod you and poke you. You can do it all.
You can skip the trip.
Skip the trip. Do it from the comfort of your own home.
Yes.
As I said, there's a fit finder quiz. You basically answer a few simple questions to find your perfect fit. It's actually fun, takes less than a minute, and they actually incorporate your breast shape, which is really important when finding a good fit, and other companies just don't do that. They help you identify your breast size and shape to fit your body. They also have the most sizes of any bra brand. They have cups from A through H and bands up to 48.
Whoa.
I know. It's amazing.
So everyone has a chance.
Everyone has a chance to wear a comfortable bra.
ThirdLove knows there's a perfect bra for everyone. So right now they are offering our listeners 15% off of their first order. So go to thirdlove.com/drink to find your perfect fitting bra and get 15% off your first purchase.
That's thirdlove.com/drink for 15% off today.
Love it or hate it, there's no denying that you could be shopping better. You either spend all day at the mall and end up with yet another striped t-shirt. I feel personally attacked.
Thousands.
Or you just scroll endlessly online just to leave everything in your cart. Also feeling personally attacked.
Wow.
But now you can shop the productive way and end with stuff you actually love with Stitch Fix.
So whether you're looking to express your personal style, dress for the job you want, or just try something new, Stitch Fix can style you on your time. You don't even have to leave the house, which is my favorite part.
I love not leaving the house.
Me too.
Unfortunately, sometimes I have to leave the house, but in that case, I'm glad I've got Stitch Fix because I actually did just go to New York for a wedding.
Right.
And I wore my Stitch Fix outfit and I had a blast and I looked like a blast.
You looked like a blast.
Like a blast in a glass. So you just fill out your style profile online and Stitch Fix will they'll send you clothes, shoes, and accessories picked just for you. Your size, your lifestyle, your budget, and of course, what you like.
So each Stitch Fix box contains 5 items that you can try on at home, so you can see what works with your wardrobe, and you only pay for the items you keep. And what I really liked about that is that you can actually, so you can put a budget on each item. Like if you're like, oh, I usually spend like $100 on jeans, or I usually spend $20 on tops. Like you can put a budget, and they'll send you stuff within that budget, so that you don't feel like you're, losing money every time you get a box.
And there's no subscription required, so you can quote get your fix. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Wink, wink, boop, boop, boop.
You can get it monthly, quarterly, or wherever you feel like it.
And when you send it back...
Whenever you feel like it. Sorry.
Or wherever. I mean, you can change your address on the website, I'm
That's
sure.
also true, yeah.
You can also send everything back if you want. You can send whatever you want that you don't want to keep. And Stitch Fix covers shipping both ways for returns and exchanges too.
So get started now at stitchfix.com/drink, and you'll also get 25% off when you keep all 5 items in your box. That's stitchfix.com/drink to try Stitch Fix today.
Stitchfix.com/drink.
So my story today, we have to thank my boss.
Okay. Renee?
Renee.
Yeah. Thank you, Renee.
She jokingly brought this up, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to do a story about that. And then I looked into it, and I was like, oh, I'm actually going to do a story about this.
What is it?
So when she was in 5th grade, one of her like class projects was they were studying Colonial Virginia, which Eva and I love very much, close to home because we're both from VA.
That's right.
Their job in 5th grade was that they were
Their career paths.
their Social Security was going. They were recreating Williamsburg as a class, as a group project.
Fucking precious.
And so they were each given different roles in Colonial Williamsburg, and they even had to build their own houses out of cardboard.
Oh my!
Like very detail oriented. Congratulations.
Crazy.
And she was a member of the gentry, and she was given the role of Betty Randolph.
Okay.
I want you to remember that name. She was given the role of Betty Randolph. I want you all to remember Betty Randolph. And
Betty sounds like a badass, maybe?
You'll find out.
I'll find out.
So I just think it's funny in hindsight. After I did some research, I was like, that's who you were named after.
Okay, great.
So anyway, and also I have mentioned this before, but I'm obsessed with the colonial period, especially places like Virginia where they do recreations and reproductions of colonial living.
And you've said it feels like really home.
Like I know in my soul, if reincarnation is a thing, most of my lives were in colonial period. We're in the colonial period. Mm-hmm. So that being said, this was already close to home, and I wanted to do a story about Virginia, so this worked out
perfect.
And I went to college 20 minutes down the road from Colonial Virginia or Colonial Williamsburg, so I was just super stoked.
Oh, I'm pumped for this.
Okay, so this is the Peyton Randolph House, also known as the Peachy Randolph House.
Oh.
So, give you a little backstory. It was built in 1715 by Sir William Robertson, and then it ended up belonging to the Randolph family.
Okay.
Hence the Peyton Randolph House.
Sure.
So, Sir John Randolph, he bought the house in 1724 for $50.
Me too.
Which I did the math, and that's actually still only $1,800 today. So to buy a whole house,
Holy.
that's less than my rent.
That's insanity.
So anyway, he bought the house for $50 in 1724, and he later passed it on down to his son Peyton and his wife Betty. So
okay.
Peyton and Betty Randolph.
Got it. So they're brother and sister. No, wife. Son is Peyton, wife is Betty.
Yes.
Got it.
So Peyton is now married to Renee's character from 5th grade.
That's how I'm going to relate to that person. Yep. Okay, got it.
So Sir John Randolph, the father of Peyton, just to give you an idea, he was the only Virginian colonial man to be knighted by the English crown. So he was very wealthy, business elite. His son followed in his footsteps, and he was very well known in history, especially in Virginia history. He served as the Speaker of the House of Burgesses. He was a prominent political figure in Colonial Williamsburg, was actually the first president of the Continental Congress, which technically makes him the first president of the country.
Oh, my.
So even before George Washington. He played a very important role in the American Revolution, and he chaired the meeting of Patrick Henry's Give Me Liberty or Give Me Death speech.
Wow.
So Peyton Randolph was the man.
He's a bigwig.
And his wife, Betty Renee, listen up.
Betty Renee.
Was the wife of Peyton, clearly, and was supposedly, seemingly very ladylike, and was equally important, not so much in politics, but she's very well known for she was involved in the war efforts, and she took care of really sick kids. And so there was one thing I was reading about where during the war, someone needed to run out and grab buckets of water. And so she was running in between the battles and stuff. Like she was
oh, shit.
A bad bitch.
Right.
But apparently behind closed doors, Betty Randolph was the equivalent to Madame LaLaurie with the slaves.
No.
So I'm not going to go into detail and really ruin everyone's lunch or whatever you're eating right now. If you would like to really scar yourself, go listen to the episode about the LaLaurie mansion, where she was just the ultra worst.
I think that was number 19.
That was the one with Deirdre. 19 was Deirdre's.
Oh,
So,
never mind.
something, it's around there. It's in the mid-20s, I think.
It's early on.
It's pretty revolting, but it's also one of my favorites purely for the shock value.
People still comment about it.
Yeah, it really just ruins your whole day. So
You're welcome.
So if you would like to go listen to that, basically she was a wretched, wretched woman who owned a lot of slaves and used them as torture toys. And
Woof.
And so Betty Randolph was not as bad, but is pretty well known in history for the cruel punishments she would put on her slaves.
Okay.
She only had 27 slaves, which at that time was a lot, but compared to the Laurie mansion, there it wasn't too many.
27 seems like a lot too, though.
Yeah. So she had 27, and some of them survived and were able to talk about what happened. So that's how they know that, like,
how bad it was.
She was pretty rough.
Right.
Some actually believe that because of her mistreatment of the slaves, that some of the slaves actually put a curse on the house, and that's one of the reasons why it's still haunted today. Mainly because one of the slaves, Eve, had a baby named George. George grew up to also be a slave. And when he was around a teenager, him and his mom, Eve, became runaway slaves. I won't get into the history, but basically they were protected under General Cornwallis during the right before the Battle of Yorktown, which I know way too much about because I used to be a tour guide in Yorktown.
Oh, shit.
And one of the stops was the Cornwallis Cave, where General Cornwallis actually surrendered, and that was the end of the Revolutionary War. So, yeah. So I know too much about that, so I'm going to leave that alone.
Okay.
But basically for a brief period of time, he was protecting a lot of the slaves, or they were under his protection, and then that changed. So even though they were runaway slaves and were being protected by him, the rule changed, and then they had to go back to her after having run away. And
as if she's not treating them poorly enough already.
Now she's pissed.
Right.
So she ended up separating them. No one knows what happened to George, but Eve ended up surviving long enough to tell the story, and supposedly she put a curse on the house.
Okay.
So that's Betty that's fucking Renee's 5th grade character.
I take back my thing about how cool she probably was. God damn it.
So there's that. Okay, so the Peyton Randolph House also had a lot of very hoity-toity, prestigious guests, including Thomas Jefferson, mainly, though, because Thomas Jefferson is actually Peyton Randolph's cousin.
Of course he is.
So just for, like, hangbangs and, like, Thanksgiving.
Hangbangs. You spend a fucking 5 days back home and you come back with this weird terminology.
So today the building is made of 3 distinct parts. So there's the west wing, the east wing, and literally just called the middle portion.
The wing.
It's like east wing, middle wing.
The neutral wing.
Middle portion was what I saw most often. It is also a national landmark as of 1970. So the Peyton and his wife stayed there for a long time. But following Peyton's death in Philadelphia, he died in 1775, so right before America.
Literally the year before.
Almost made it.
Maybe he was reincarnated into America.
Oh.
That's
exact. Eva, write that down.
I think that makes sense.
That's
though.
it.
Like, when people die and then they're like, my grandfather
Maybe one of
died.
my past lives I died and turned into Canada.
That's it.
We figured it out.
All right, you're just adding on to my cool theory with your own personal story that you want to be true.
So badly, though.
I know. I'll let you have it.
Okay, so get this. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You're going to get a kick out of this. I already know you're going to get a kick out of this. So,
okay.
When Peyton Randolph died, the year before America.
Right.
Before he became America. Guess what they did to his body?
Oh, no. They put it on a flag. I don't know.
Wow. No.
Yeah, I have no idea.
So he died in Philly, and they wanted to send him back to Williamsburg for proper burial. But so at the time, sending something from Pennsylvania to Virginia, which is only a couple states away, took a long time. So to essentially embalm him, they pickled his body in a barrel.
Oh, come on. They put him in a fucking pickle barrel?
Yes.
No.
And I was telling Renee today, too. I was like, can you imagine being the person with a crowbar knowing you have to pop the top of that barrel? And like a sloshy pickled body
dude.
falls out.
Just a really salty, shriveled body. Ugh. That's foul.
They just were brining him.
Earlier today, I ate daikon, like pickled radish. And my friend goes, it tastes a little bit like sushi. And now that just grosses me out even more to think of a pickled human body. It's disgusting.
At least you didn't say, tastes like human.
Tastes like a pickled body.
So that was just a fun fact.
It's so fun. Thank you.
So he got sent back to Williamsburg and had a proper burial. The books that he had in his possession ended up getting passed down to cousin Thomas Jefferson, And those books ended up being some of the first books in the Library of Congress.
Wow.
So Peyton Randolph is like kind of like unless you're a history buff, no one really knows what's going on with him.
He's in it.
So after his death, his wife Betty resided in the home until her death in 1782. Right before she died, the house was also used as headquarters for the French forces. Right before the French and the Americans moved into Yorktown to surround General Cornwallis at the Cornwallis Cave on Yorktown Beach. It's fine. Look, I'm not smart about a lot of things, but like this is it.
Nobody's stopping you, man. Go for it.
It's my hidden talent. I know way too much about the history of Yorktown Beach during the war.
Please.
So the home was later owned after the Randolphs passed away, and the house got moved around to a couple other people. But the home was later owned by the Peachy family, hence the Peachy Randolph House. And they ended up moving in 1824, and the matriarch, her name was Mary Monroe Peachy. And when the Peachy family took over, the house also became a hospital for wounded soldiers, and there was weirdly a lot of deaths during that family in the house.
Uh-oh.
So one of the Peachy boys was climbing a tree, and the branch broke and he fell to his death. This is why I don't climb trees. Okay, it's not because I'm not physically capable.
Did you see at my 4th of July party, 2 people climbed trees yesterday, and I had like Josh and Joanna were both in the tree, and then Josh was in the tree, and someone yelled, "Joshua Tree." And then he just turns to the camera and goes, "Hey guys, it's your boy Joshua Tree." And like I've been saying it all day because I thought it was so funny. Anyway, point being, then Joanna climbed the tree and was like, "Somebody help me down." And I was like, this is why you don't climb a fucking tree.
I think I've never climbed a tree. I think I've certainly tried when I was younger. And,
I've certainly tried to, but...
And I think at 5, I knew that upper arm strength was just not a skill I would ever inherit. So
at my birth, my mother was like, "You will never be able to climb a tree."
My mom held me for the first time and said, never again for you.
And don't even try.
Not once, not ever.
Nope.
No, I truly, if you told me I was going to die unless I climbed a tree, I would be like, well, I'm going to die.
The lions will eat me. I won't do it.
Hands down.
Bye.
So just
anyway,
I don't know how to get away from that.
Anyway,
I'm thinking of all the ways that like I really wish I could climb a tree, but I just can't.
No,
I think that's why I liked Tarzan so much when I was little, because I was just so impressed.
Oh, me too.
I was like, how can you do that?
And how can
it's not like you're a cartoon.
No, it's not like it's not real.
So anyway, he clearly also could not climb trees, and he fell to his death like I would. So
sad boy.
There was a young girl that lived on the 2nd floor in the Peachy family, and she fell out of her window to her death.
Baby.
And there is another relative of the Peachy family that committed suicide in the drawing room.
Oh my God.
After the Civil War, a young orphaned soldier also stayed with the Peachy family, but he died of my favorite, consumption.
Remember when you were like, "Does that mean eating too much cake?" And I was like,
I literally thought I could possibly die from consumption. I was like, that's an easy death.
It's one of my favorite episodes.
Not climbing trees and eating a lot of food, that's consumption if I ever heard it.
Climb a tree, yeah.
a tree a day keeps the consumption away.
You know, that old wives' tale.
So are you just eating... What is that?
Listen, I'm hungry. It's not good, though.
What is it?
I don't know.
Is that cheese?
I think it's ginger.
Ew. It looks like Parmesan cheese.
Ginger, I don't like it.
Just drink it with the wine.
Bah, bah, bah.
I have a LaCroix.
Oops. I missed the trash can. Someone will clean it later, and that will be me.
I thought you were going to say Eva, and I was like, whoa.
Eva, clean my spitty ginger off the
Eva,
floor.
I spit ginger on the floor. Now get to it.
Get it. Please don't touch it.
Eva, I just got LaCroix in my eye. Wipe it out.
What did we do before Eva?
I don't know, but everyone can go to ZipRecruiter and find your own Eva. #ad.
Oh,
okay.
Boy.
So we're almost done with the history, guys. I know. I'm just like really not good at this.
You're great at it.
Wow. Thanks.
You are. You were a fucking tour guide.
Yeah, you should have seen me on that Segway, man. Oh, yeah. This was where I was also a Segway tour guide.
Also, the fun thing is, Emmy kept texting me like, "Oh, here's a segue into this topic," and like,
Jesus Christ, Christine. Here's the thing. Okay, let me just start it out first. I'm an idiot.
I laughed so hard.
I never knew that the Segway that you ride was spelt differently than like the phrase segueing into another conversation.
Yes, very different.
I had no idea that it was spelled like Segu.
It's not spelled like Segu. It's spelled like segue, which is the word. But okay.
I always thought that like the
Segu.
term segue, like in a conversation, was spelt just like the one that you ride.
I mean, I know. I learned that real quick when you texted me twice in 2 days about segue. And I was like, ha, that's so funny. And then I was like, oh, I'm not kidding.
I didn't get why you were laughing. I kept saying like, oh, I don't know how to segue into this. And I was typing segue.
And it would capitalize it like the brand. And I was like, oh, that's funny because I'm used to ride segways.
Yeah, but she kept saying, oh, that's funny. And I thought she just meant that like it was capitalizing itself. I was like, I guess that's funny. And then eventually Christine was like, do you realize that's
so awkward? I had to be like, hey, like, just so we're both like laughing about the same thing.
She was like, just so you know, like, that's not how it's spelled. And I was like, I am a 26-year-old human being.
Funny.
And I rode segways for a living. And I had no idea that was a play on words.
It's just funny that, they changed like, like seg. Okay. Well.
Segue.
No, segue.
Segue.
It's not segue. It's a word. You could change it.
For the rest of my life, it's just gonna look like segue because I grew up never.
Segue.
I had no idea that word existed.
Segue. It's a French word, Mr. French. I speak French all the time.
I'm sorry.
All right, I'm sorry.
Je suis désolé. Okay.
Yeah, you can do that all you want, but
like I just can't say segue.
It just cracks me up every time you talk about segues now. Sorry to ruin it.
Let's keep talking about people dying. I feel safer there.
We're in a safer space when we do that.
I feel like I actually know more about dead people than the word segue, even though I rode them for
I know you
years.
know more about.
Okay, so anyway, back to death. A Confederate veteran also attending the College of William and Mary when he was living at the Peachy House, and he was also going to college, and suddenly and mysteriously fell ill and died in the house.
Oh,
so he's like the 5th person to die.
That's a lot.
That's not including like the soldiers, because this was also a hospital.
These are like actual,
just like family members.
Deaths.
Yeah. Later on, 2 men staying at the house ended up getting in a fight and shooting each other to death.
Cute. So they shot each other to death.
Like they both went bing bang, and then they both died at the same time. Boom, hit the floor.
Got it.
So since its construction in 1715, about 30 people have died in the house. And that does
Holy shit.
That does not include some of the unreported soldiers that also died on the property. And, of course, it does not include the native burial grounds.
Oh, fuck.
That were all disturbed during the building's construction.
So it's literally 30 just
30 immediate.
Reported deaths. Okay.
Yes.
Jesus
30
Christ.
proper.
Oh, 30 proper.
So, a lot of people think that either the building is haunted because of the curse from Eve, Betty's slave.
Right.
Or because of the disturbed native remains during the construction. So there were Native American remains and people all buried on the east side of the yard. Apparently, when they were digging up foundations of the house, everything was disturbed. There was actually a story I read. So, okay, here's the thing. In 1940, they were doing construction to build the Colonial National Historic Parkway.
Right.
And so they ended up having to dig near the foundations and stuff like that. One of the stories I read was that they actually dug so close to the foundation of the building that water in the ground actually started like pouring into a basement of the house. That house, it was something like when they were digging up the basement, or when they were digging up the ground for the basement to put a basement in, they already had removed a bunch of artifacts that they had found to put a basement in. And they were like, oh, we don't need this stuff. And so the people who were moving into the house were like, oh, well, we'll take the artifacts that you found in the place that was the basement and we'll just put them back in the basement so they're in the same area.
Sure.
So we're just going to disturb it, build a basement, and then put it inside the basement so it's still technically underground.
Sake.
And then in 1940, when they were doing construction for this parkway, they ended up knocking over the foundation and water started flooding the basement. So all these artifacts got doubly ruined.
Oh, no.
And got doubly disturbed. And then the woman who was living there literally didn't know what to do with these old artifacts and didn't care that they were artifacts. So sold them to tourists.
Bet you made a lot of money, though.
That's like some straight up like Disney original movie,
also,
though.
like, you could...
Of like, just like, oh, here, tourist, here's this wonky little thing that's going to curse your whole family.
Here's this little, what do they call it? A whatchamacallit? What are you making that face for?
Warm LaCroix is so bad.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably.
Sorry, I'm sorry. That was just the first time I've experienced that, so.
It's not good.
It's like a baby with a lemon. I was like, ugh.
It's like anyone with a lemon, really.
Okay, valid.
I don't know. It just sounds really like, couldn't you make more money selling it to like
here's
geologist or like
she wasn't selling it like they were like rare artifacts. She was just like basically garage selling
here,
them.
have this for $10.
Like it got ruined in the water damage, take it. Like to a point where some things she wasn't selling, she was just giving away to tourists.
That's wow. Okay.
So basically native remnants got messed around with. There were also graves that were discovered and that also had ancient pottery in them, and they were found and taken out of the ground and sold or gifted to tourists.
Gifted to tourists. Nice.
Gifted.
Very nice.
Okay, so here's the ghosts. I know that's what everyone came here for. Wow, that was just a lot of banter.
Bring me the ghosts.
So in 1824, a French general of the American Revolution, he stayed there one night and woke up to voices all screaming his name at different times, as if a crowd was trying to get his attention.
Wait, what was his name?
Marquis de Lafayette.
Marquis de Lafayette. I remember him from history class. Marquis de Lafayette. Oh, wait,
Were they just chanting, Marquis de Lafayette?
We're supposed to scream it or whisper it?
No, he woke up to a crowd screaming
Okay,
it.
I'm not going to scream it. Nobody wants to hear that.
Okay, so he woke up to people screaming his name.
Great.
And in the middle, he woke up and no one was there, though. Like, he woke up like he was on a stage and people were screaming his name and then no one was there.
That's terrifying.
Then he felt a hand rest eerily on his shoulder and then he felt a second hand press into his chest.
Ew.
There is also reports of a glowing male figure in one of the bedrooms, and you can hear heavy boots stomping through the halls and children giggling.
Yeah,
One guest in 2015 wrote, "My friend shined his flashlight into the window on the first floor, and we were looking around. I guess I was the only one who saw it, but there was a small ball like the size of 2 fists, and it started at the top left corner and went to the bottom of the upper flight of stairs, and then to the ceiling and disappeared." So there's like a ball
like
of
an
light
orb type thing
that like just runs around different directions of the house and then fades
Fuck.
away. Guests will also on ghost tours, because obviously they have ghost tours. Guests will regularly pass out or have medical issues in front of the house.
Oh.
A lot of people will pass out, convulse, or have bloody noses.
Do people have to like sign a waiver?
No, I think like, can you imagine? Okay, when I was a tour guide, if that was like a regular thing happening, I would have not been a tour guide.
That, yeah.
I'd be like, nah.
Everyone's nose is just bleeding all the time.
So, the building also served as a home, like a boarding house, back in the 60s. And guests would run out in the middle of the night claiming that people were violently shaking them and tugging on their arms and legs.
Oh my God.
They would also see shadow men standing over them in their bed.
No.
One guest said, "I was resting comfortably when awakened by the peculiar feeling that someone was tugging on my arm. Naturally, I assumed I was dreaming, so I rolled over and went back to sleep. A short while later, I was being shaken violently. As my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I could see that I was completely alone." There were sounds of, people hear sounds of knocking coming from inside the house, inside the walls, and inside your bed. People will find furniture moving on its own. They will walk into a room that they just left and see that the furniture has disappeared out of nowhere.
Disappear? Where does it go?
Like they just leave.
Fuck?
They just leave, and even the burrow couch #ad are gone.
#ad.
So
Eva, if you steal our goddamn burrow couch, I swear to God.
you will also hear the sounds of children playing and running across the floor.
Okay.
The second floor of the house is considered the most haunted because that is where people feel like they are getting pushed downstairs.
Good.
A woman has been heard singing in the backyard, and security has claimed that they have heard her singing right into their ears. An alarm, this is a cool story, an alarm went off in one part of the house, and so the security, it was like a fire alarm, so the security went to go see if there was any fire or smoke, and they couldn't find anything, but they did when they got in, because all the doors were locked, and they couldn't break in for some reason, like the whole place was barricaded, and keep in mind this is an empty part of the building, so it shouldn't be hard to unlock, but they had to break a window to get in, and what they did find was a fire extinguisher resting right in the middle of the floor. And its contents were completely emptied around it.
Ew.
So, like, it had sprayed a perfect circle.
Ew.
And sitting clean in the middle. It said that the spray pattern was a controlled circular pattern.
Oh, my God.
And the extinguisher was completely empty all the way through, and the pin had been removed, but nobody ever found it.
Oh, my God.
When they actually picked up the extinguisher, there was nothing on it. There was like no discharge or backsplash spray. Like it was a perfectly clean, empty fire extinguisher sitting in a perfect circle of its own like
Ew.
the anti-flame material.
Yeah.
So it was resting in the middle of the room and had been placed. It had clearly like been picked up and placed in the middle.
Right.
Oh, and then apparently because I guess the way that if someone had set it right in the middle of the floor and then held it while it was on the ground and rotated it while spraying it, you would have seen spray against the walls and like hit like underneath the door or something. But it was almost like there was some like hidden barrier. It was a perfect circle. It
just like emptied it.
Like the edges of the outer circle were perfectly even. Like
Yuck.
there was no spray. It was like a perfect
gross.
circle. There are psychics that have visited the place who say that there are uneasy feelings on the stairs and in the drawing room, which happens to be where one of the guys committed suicide.
Oh no.
People wake up to a glowing man in the corner of the room staring at them.
Wait, what do you mean a glowing man?
Like a man that glows.
Okay, got it.
One employee saw a spirit and could feel its anger from across the room, tried to go downstairs to leave it, and ended up getting pushed down the stairs before she can make it to the end herself.
Oh no.
One guest has said, of those who know the Peyton Randolph House, none doubt that there is something inexplicably strange about it. Too many people have experienced similar eerie phenomena within its walls. Make no mistake, folks, the Peyton Randolph House is the most haunted house in Williamsburg. Which says a lot because all of Colonial Williamsburg is bananas haunted.
Right.
Two of the windows glow with no light sources. Like you'll just see them glowing in the middle of the night, and the curtains will move on their own it looks like a little kid is playing with it from the bottom and yanking it left and right really fast.
Or like Juniper's just like climbing.
Yeah, or like there's a cat in there.
How creepy.
So there's one woman named Helen, and she was a school teacher in the 60s, and she stayed in the Peyton Randolph house. And she slept in the room that has red oak paneled walls.
Okay.
Where apparently a lot of people have had activity in this room.
Sounds fancy.
She woke up in the middle of the night to someone calling out her name, saying, Helen, Helen, Helen. And yeah, just as creepy, I'm assuming. Except it gets louder and louder each time. She saw at the foot of her bed that there was a woman in the shadows, and she thought it was her hostess.
Oh, God, can you imagine?
It's kind of scarier on its own. I feel like she was trying to use that as an excuse, but like that makes it worse.
But I mean, your first logical thought would be like, oh, it's someone in the house.
In the house. But also, like, imagine you're in an Airbnb
it's
and you hear
less
someone going,
creepy.
Christine.
No, it's literally no less
Airbnb
creepy.
host saying, give me a good review.
I feel like I'd almost be like, I hope that's a fucking ghost. Please get out.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I'd be like, I hope you are not alive.
Because if you are a real human, you're probably going to murder me right now.
It's like, okay, so I'm officially going to die.
We're dead.
Right. Okay, these are the last minutes I always were wondering about.
I was always wondering.
What the last minutes would be.
I knew it was Airbnb's fault.
So anyway, so the woman that she saw, she realized it wasn't her hostess because she was wearing an 18th century mop cap.
Great.
And night clothing that matched. And so she said, very bravely, what is it that you want? And at that moment, the clouds happened to separate next to the window, so the room lit up a little bit more. And she saw that the light passed right through the body.
Good. Fabulous. Great.
So she could see the woman like completely translucent.
Great.
At the foot of her bed. And then when the 18th century woman saw that we now knew she was a ghost, she looked scared and vanished. One thing that the woman, that Helen recognized, though, was that the woman seemed to be moving her hands frantically as if she was worried about something, trying to warn her. We don't know what she was trying to warn her about. But she was
literally going, Helen,
she was like,
Helen. Oh, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah. So she told her friends the next day what happened, and her friend said that apparently this lady shows up to a lot of people looking really scared in her mop cap.
Hold on. So the friend was just being that asshole, like, yeah, that happens to everyone.
He's like, yeah, you're not even important.
I mean, it's not like you're special.
Like, congratulations.
Oh, I hate those people.
So apparently a lot of people who stay in the red oak paneled bedroom see a woman at the foot of their bed wearing 18th century knight's clothes.
Oh, my God.
Calling their name and waving frantically.
Oh, my God.
I wonder if she's like just really excited to see you and is like waving hello. Like,
I feel
hi.
I don't want to wake you, but I'm trying so hard to wake you up.
I know you're sleeping, but like hi.
But like wake up so I can say hi.
But like hello. It's been so long. It's been a whole life. I'm almost done, by the way.
No, you're fine.
So there was another young couple who was visiting the Peyton Randolph house, and they stayed in the red oak paneled bedroom, and they saw a woman appear to them in the middle of the night, and they were so terrified that they jumped out and ran into the middle of the street and then stayed there until sunrise.
In the middle of the street?
Just stood there. I mean, I would rather stand in a busy street than a haunted
Was it a
house.
busy street? I feel like they would have gotten hit by... I mean, I feel like this is
I don't know.
Virginia. They probably wasn't that busy, right? I'm thinking LA, and I'm like, I'd be dead in like 2 seconds.
One employee came in early in the morning before her shift, and she was standing at the top of the stairs, and she looked down and saw a man at the foot of the stairs who was wearing 18th century garb and was sitting in a chair facing the window.
Okay.
She thought it might be another employee because in Colonial Williamsburg, you just wear the colonial garb. So she thought it was another employee that came in early. She tried to make small talk, and she could tell that not only did they not respond, but did not want to be spoken to, and just totally got the vibe of like, shut the hell up. She ended up feeling so scared that she felt she needed to hide. And when I guess the man thought that she was gone, he stood up and then stared at her hiding spot and then faded away.
Ew. What a creep.
Some people also hear the jingling of spurs.
From your boots?
From boots. And some people will hear the sound of glass smashing on the floor, but it doesn't sound like apparently what I found online was it sounds like someone broke a large mirror and all of it shattering at one time into a million pieces. People will check in the room where they heard the sound and nothing will be there.
Oh, God.
Some say that the spirits that show up in the house actually only appear as one thing to one person and then something else to another person.
Like a boggart in Harry Potter.
Uh-huh.
Is that what it's called?
I think
a boggart.
So, for example, a lot of people will see this old woman whispering their name in the middle of the night, but other people will see a little child.
Oh, is it a demon? Oh, my God.
And some people will hear an old raspy man.
Why is that gonna... Okay.
So it's like sometimes he changes gender, sometimes they change age. I mean,
that's so fucking horrible.
But so like you never know who you're going to wake up to. You just know someone's going to call your name, but everyone gets the same, I guess, sense of energy or something. That's the same thing.
Oh, God.
Some years later, there was another girl who stayed there. This woman, when she was younger, she lived there for 50 years. This was one of the like original family members, and she moved in when she was 13. When she was 13, she was sleeping alone in one of the rooms, and she suddenly woke up to a teenage girl in a white nightgown, much like the woman in a white nightgown in the same room. Uh-huh. So sometimes she also shows up as a teenager.
Oh, great.
Saw her running back and forth from wall to wall in her room.
Ew!
And then would stop to look at her.
Ew! Ew.
Which is just the creepiest.
That's just the worst thing ever.
She was also... Ugh.
I hate it so much.
So she woke up to the teenager running back and forth as if playing a game by herself, and then every now and then looking back at her while she was lying in bed.
Are you watching me?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck no.
Then she woke up another night to the same girl just standing at her bed staring at her. Quote, peeking at her.
Okay, it's just horrible.
So this time she thought it was her sister, so she called out and said, go away, but then the girl got closer and she saw it wasn't her sister.
No!
So several years later, the woman ended up, because she lived there for 50 years, so she was still there at the time, but she was an adult now. Her mom and sister weren't around. They like went to the store or something, and she was left alone in the house, and she heard heavy boot steps, and then she heard the mirror shatter. And so she ran upstairs to find anyone home, and she found out she was the only one home, and nothing had broken, and nobody was in the house. And the last story I have is a security guard, I guess fairly recently. This is like, it's no longer a house that people are living in. It's just getting tours. A security guard was patrolling the basement when all of a sudden the shutter doors slammed shut in front of him, and he heard all the doors for his exits lock around him.
For fuck's sake.
He heard a large growl, and he felt something grab his legs. And when it grabbed his legs, it held his feet firmly down as if he was glued there.
Oh, my God.
So he was totally paralyzed, could not move. He was just standing there trying to get away, but something was holding his legs.
Oh, my God.
He started screaming for help, and he was unable to move, and his flashlight faded off by itself. He quickly grabbed his radio. He called for backup, and his lieutenant tried to get in, but the doors would not unlock. So he was trying to kick this door down, and it wouldn't open. Finally, for some reason, the door just all of a sudden unlocks, and it flies open, and the lieutenant falls through. And at that same time, something released his legs, and he was able to run around. So he was released from whatever was holding him. The door is unlocked, and then nobody could
How
explain what
terrifying.
happened.
He just signs up. He's like in like college or something. He's like, I just need some part-time money. And he signs up to be a fucking security guard night shift. And then this shit happens. Like,
and you're in the basement of
that's not fair.
a building from the 1700s.
You probably don't even believe in ghosts. And then it's like,
all you're going to remember today.
ugh, fuck. That's horrible.
Anyway, so that was everything from the Peyton Randolph House.
Renee, thank you for that suggestion.
Thank you, Nay.
Thank you, Nay.
Guys, we love Eva.
This is an ad for Eva. Just kidding. You can't have her. We love ZipRecruiter because it brought us to Eva.
Yes.
Yes. It is really hard to find employees. And I feel like before when we read these ads, we were like, yeah, it must be really hard. But like,
It's actually so hard.
it's like, wow, this is a lot of work.
It's really hard.
And thank God for ZipRecruiter because we were able to get our lovely Eva.
And it's hard to find qualified candidates, and it takes a long time. It's just so many applications to read through.
Right.
Sometimes you just don't have enough hours in the day to, really find the perfect one. And with ZipRecruiter, we were able to.
Oh, thank God. So basically, ZipRecruiter sends your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards, but they don't stop there. With their powerful matching technology, ZipRecruiter scans thousands of resumes to find people with the right experience and invite them to apply to your job.
As applications come in, ZipRecruiter analyzes each one and spotlights the top candidates so that you never miss a great match like Eva.
ZipRecruiter is so effective that 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day.
Which we can vouch for.
It's
That
true.
is true.
It literally happened.
She was the first person that we found on ZipRecruiter, too.
I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's always the first one you see.
You just got to go with your gut, man. With results like that, it's no wonder ZipRecruiter is the highest rated hiring site in America.
And right now, our listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free at this exclusive web address. Are you ready for it, Christine?
I'm so ready.
ZipRecruiter.com/ can you guess it? Drink. That's ZipRecruiter.com/drink, DRINK. ZipRecruiter.com/drink.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire people like Eva. We were close with that one.
Did you know that 66% of men lose their hair by age 35?
That's a lot.
That's a scary, staggering amount.
I did not know that. No.
And the thing is, when guys start to notice their hair loss, it's already kind of too late. It's easier to keep the hair they have than to replace the hair that they've lost.
That makes sense.
And if you are someone who notices that your hairline is slowly starting to move backwards, or if you have any bald spots, you're probably wondering what you can do.
Oh, me too. I'm wondering.
And luckily, there is a solution, forhims.com.
Forhims.com is a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, sexual wellness, all for men. And thanks to science, baldness can be optional. So Hims connects you with real doctors and medical-grade solutions that will actually help you treat hair loss.
They have well-known generic equivalents to name brand prescriptions to help you keep your hair. There's no snake oil pills or gas station counter supplements. They're prescription solutions backed by our favorite thing in the whole wide world besides wine, science.
No waiting room. You don't have to go to the doctor and kind of awkwardly explain your situation. And you can save hours by going to forhims.com. So if you are someone who doesn't want, like me, who feels awkward going to the doctor and explaining in person, or if you know someone, a loved one who feels that way, forhims.com is for you.
And the products are shipped directly to your door, so you don't even have to deal with a doctor.
Oh, so nice.
Directly, anything like that.
Again, we don't like to leave the house.
Again, we don't like...
human interaction?
Yes, that is what I meant. Exactly.
Fantastic.
So my buddy RJ, who I've talked about on the show a few times...
Let's just throw RJ right back under the bus.
Poor RJ and his hair loss. But he is very aware that he is seeing a little more skin on the top of his head than he would like to.
Fair.
And I have... kindly offered 4 Hims to him, and he has very much enjoyed it. He feels like he can get whatever he wants. He doesn't feel like he has to talk directly to a doctor and talk about things that are kind of uncomfortable or that you might be really insecure about. So if you want to order now, our listeners are getting a trial month of Hims for just $5 today right now while supplies last. So you can see the website for full details, and this would cost hundreds of dollars if you went to a doctor or a pharmacy. So this is a really good deal.
Really good deal. So go to forhims.com/ATWWD. That's forhims.com/ATWWD.
Forhims.com/ATWWD. Did everyone like those ads?
Wow, I thought they were really good, and I think you should all buy them so that they get all the money they deserve.
Yes.
And you get all the good stuff you deserve.
Yes, yes.
More importantly.
Yes, yes, yes.
So, Em, are you ready?
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
Okay. Are you all right?
I am okay.
Okay, good. This is the murder of Marlene Warren.
Okay.
Now, I tried to find an episode on like a podcast episode about this. It doesn't exist. I was like, on my drive home today, an hour from work, like I'll just listen to a podcast episode about this story to get in, the groove.
Get in
and
the spirit.
It doesn't exist. And I was shocked because this is a bonkers story. And you better hold on to your britches. What do you hold on to? I don't know.
Hold on to your seat.
Sure.
Hold on to your horses. Hold on to your bootstraps. I don't know.
Sure. Hold on to all those like really cowboy things you just said. This is a murder of Marlene Warren. Generation Y, the podcast, was also at CrimeCon, who I didn't get to meet, and now I feel like stupid because I listen to their podcast now, and I'm like, God damn it, they were across the hall from us, and we didn't really talk to them. But so they did a blog post about this whole thing where I got a ton of information, but I thought there was going to be an episode. They didn't do an episode. They're just awesome and do like episodes and fucking blog posts.
Oh, wow.
I know.
We do not have that
a
kind
lot
of time.
of research.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I know. So I was just very impressed. So I got a lot of information from there. But as far as I know, this is the first podcast episode about this topic ever. So
yay.
I'm a trailblazer.
Yes, I think so.
Yep. So this takes place in Wellington, Florida, in Palm Beach County, which if you've ever been to Palm Beach, which Ellen Boswell, my stepmother, made me go to, it is an extremely wealthy area where they do like equestrian shit and all that.
Oh, ew.
Really, what were we saying earlier? Genteel.
And gentle.
Gentile, genteel, and gentle.
Also, I'm sorry. I have to undo my buckle. My pants hurt.
Listen, I took my bra off in front of everyone in the room like an hour ago.
I ate a lot of steamed buns today.
M texted me and I was like, I'm gonna get some
Steamed pork buns?
Steamed pork buns. And M goes, get me 3 porn buns. And I was like, no, I won't. I won't do that.
Autocorrect is a fun game.
I like how it autocorrects pork to porn. That's great.
Look, you don't have to know what I'm texting all the time.
I mean, I do because you texted to me and I don't want to know, but I have to.
Oh, that feels so much better to like have my
you gotta loosen the belt.
Stomach naturally inflate the way that it needs to be.
The natural way.
It's the natural order.
So here we go. We're in this like equestrian bullshit town. 40-year-old Marlene Warren lived with her husband Michael and their son Joe in an exclusive, this gets even wilder, an exclusive aeronautical community called the Wellington Aero Club, AERO.
Love it.
Where every home backs onto a private runway.
That is the preppiest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
I know. Their website, okay, so I went on their website and I was like, wow, this is probably like really elite and cool. No, it's literally in like Comic Sans and it has not changed since 1990. So
oh my God.
A website leaves something to be desired, but the neighborhood itself is pretty wealthy. So on May 26, 1990, so that's where they're living, this family, the Warrens. On May 26, 1990, at about 10:45 a.m., Marlene is having breakfast in the kitchen with her 21-year-old son, Joe, when she hears a knock at the door. By the way, Eva, do you know this story?
It sounds so familiar.
Uh-oh. Okay.
But I don't know it right now. But I feel like
Okay. I just want to watch everyone's face.
Okay.
It's pretty wild.
Gather around.
Eva, position yourself so I can see your face. There we go. Yeah. Sit pretty.
Sit pretty.
Okay. She hears a knock at the door, 10:45 a.m. They're having breakfast. She opens the door, and on her doorstep, she sees a clown.
I feel attacked.
I knew you would. Sorry. Okay, the clown is standing on her doorstep wearing a bright orange curly wig, paper white face paint covering her entire face, and a big red nose, is holding a pair of balloons. One balloon says, "You're the greatest," and the other one has Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs on it.
This sounds like Deirdre's drunk. Just sounds like something my buddies would do. I like the Snow White. That's a rarity also.
So specific. I mean, but it's 1990. Maybe that was like more in the zeitgeist.
Right.
But Snow White was like really old even then.
That was from the 30s.
Yeah.
Snow White's literally the
like
oldest
really
Disney movie.
fucking old.
Okay. Anyway, moving forward.
And is also holding a bouquet of red and white carnations in one hand. Now, here we go. Your faces are both the same. So yesterday I mentioned to I was telling my mom about riders, like, you know how we've been working on our riders for live shows.
Right.
So riders, like where you put like your requests for, like when you go to a live show, like what they provide you with, like, a clean bathroom and fruit platter, whatever. So we were talking about Katy Perry's and my sister was reading it and it said like fresh flowers in every room.
And who introduced you to that writer, by the way?
You did.
Okay.
Well, you introduced me to the Rihanna one, which I was like, looked that up. And then my sister found like a BuzzFeed article or some shit, and found all these others. So we're reading them. And Kanye's is really, by the way, hilarious. I just want to sidetrack.
I can only imagine that he requests a clown with a fucking Snow White balloon to show up at his door.
So my sister goes, oh, here's Kanye West. And I was like, I don't even want to hear it because I can guarantee I can make up something fucking ridiculous, less stupid than whatever he's going to say. But I was actually very impressed with how much it made me laugh because it was that his driver, so whoever drives him anywhere, has to wear 100% cotton with no man-made fibers. Only the driver, not an assistant, not anybody else. Just the driver has to wear 100% cotton at all times. And it just made me laugh so much because I'm like,
Eva, I need you to only wear 100% cotton from now on.
Fuck? Just the person driving.
I also need you to drive us.
Like, it doesn't matter if it's like his assistant or what. But the driver has, and it was just so random. Anyway, it made me laugh. So she went and read Katy Perry's, and Katy Perry said, I want fresh bouquets of flowers in every room, but no carnations. And we kind of laughed. And then my mom was like, well, carnations are funeral flowers. And I was like,
oh, no.
Oh, and she goes, yeah, in every other culture, carnations are what you give at funerals. Like it's like a death flower. And I was like, well, that would make a lot of sense. So I don't blame Katy Perry for that. So just keep in mind, this clown is holding a fucking bouquet of carnations.
Wow, this guy's really philosophical. Like,
really creepy.
I wonder what the Snow White balloon means in other cultures.
I mean, she dies in that, right? And then gets brought up back to life.
Well, who's to say what death really means in that movie? She is unconscious, certainly. Oh, she does die.
Yeah, she dies, and then he brings her back to life.
Sorry, I was thinking of Sleeping Beauty.
Okay. So Marlene reaches out for the flowers. Right?
Ew, not like the phone to call 911?
No, because she's like, it's 1999. She's like, oh, it's like a singing telegram or some shit. Like, it's 10:45 in the morning. She's like, what a weird thing to show.
People got murdered so easily back then.
She opens the door. Also, I saw the door in a video, and it's like one of those giant glass doors.
So she saw what was coming.
Yeah, but she couldn't like pretend she wasn't there. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like how I just look through the thing and then run away. Like she sees this lady like waving or this clown or whatever, and then just like opens the door like, what?
Like, oh man.
And then the clown like reaches out with the flowers. So she's like, oh, that's funny, and reaches for the flowers. The clown pulls a revolver from behind its back.
There it is.
Shoots her in the mouth.
In the mouth.
Injuring her severely. Calmly drops the flowers and the balloons. And then when I'm like, drops the balloons.
Don't they float away?
Yeah, I think so in my head.
Drops the helium-inflated balloons for them to start from ground zero.
I think it was literally drops the flowers, the balloons go that way.
Okay.
Walks to the white convertible Chrysler parked in front of the house and drives off. Oh. Her son Joe had been eating breakfast in the kitchen and watching the entire thing unfold from the kitchen. He hears his mother say, oh, how pretty, as she reaches out for the flowers, and then watches her fucking get shot in the face. And he told 48 Hours recently, I remember that being one of the most terrible days of my life.
Well, yeah.
At first we thought maybe it was a balloon that had popped because it was just like a bang, and they were like, and he was there with his mom's best friend, and he was like, yeah, at first we thought it was a balloon, but then she like fell, and that's when we knew something was seriously wrong. So a neighbor dialed 911 while he had a broken leg, so he's on crutches, so he tries to jump into his car and then like drive after this person, but he can't drive, his foot is broken. Like, it was just really bad. And a neighbor calls 911. He finally gets back home and sees the police there. They take her to the hospital, and she dies 2 days later at Palms West Hospital in Florida.
Oh my God.
So investigators first obviously looked at the husband, because
because you do.
That's what you do. So his name was Michael. And Marlene and Michael had been having marital troubles recently. And Marlene had actually been considering a separation from her husband. And it turns out actually a year and a half prior to the shooting, Marlene and Michael's other son, Johnny, so they had Johnny and Joe. And Michael was actually both of their stepdads. So she had Johnny and Joe from a previous marriage when she was pretty young. So it turns out that Johnny had been killed in a car accident about a year and a half before this shooting. And he was only 22 years old. And that had like devastated her and his brother Joe, and apparently like her marriage with Mike was never the same, and it just really put a strain on them and their relationship. So at this point they're kind of like already talking about getting a separation. Things are not looking good, and Michael is initially the main suspect in the murder, and he would have lost out. So if they had gotten divorced, he would have lost out on a lot because he and his wife had around $1 million in assets, and almost all of them were registered under Marlene's name, except for his used car rental service called Bargain Motors. Okay. But it turns out he, at the time, was miles away in a car full of witnesses going to the racetrack. So he had an alibi. So he couldn't have been the shooter or the clown, but an anonymous tipster gave the police another clue. The tipster called in and said, quote, "Look at Sheila Keene."
Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun. So it turns out Michael had been renting another apartment. So he'd been living at another place.
Oh, boy.
Yep. About half an hour away from their house, and had been living there with a 27-year-old woman named Sheila Keene.
Oh, boy.
Whom neighbors actually thought was his wife. So people said she came in and out so often that they just assumed he lived there with his wife, when in fact it was just his girlfriend. Actually, she was an employee at his work, at his business, at the bargain car shop. So
got it.
She was 26 when they met. He was, I think, 40. And so you just iffy. So investigators did some digging into Sheila. They were granted permission by a judge to take some DNA samples after they found orange fibers similar to the clown wig in her apartment.
Oh, boy.
Soon after that, an employee at a local costume shop contacted police saying that only 2 days before Marlene's murder, a woman had stopped by the store after closing time and had begged to be let in. The employee, whose name was Deborah, said, "Can you come back tomorrow?" And the woman said, "No, I need something right now." And said, "I need to look at the clown costumes."
Ooh.
Yeah. So detectives showed Deborah a photo lineup, and she, quote, tentatively identified the woman as Sheila Keene, said she had dark brown eyes, dark brown hair, dark complexion. When investigators looked into Sheila, they discovered that she was actually an employee at Mike and Marlene's company, 26-year-old young mother living on her own. She had just separated from her husband, and her job at the business was repossessing cars, or as another employee put it, she was the business's repo woman. And I remember I used to play The Sims. It was the repo man would come by.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like the Grim Reaper when I was little, and I didn't know the difference. So then I would
Grim Repo.
grow up and hear people say like the Grim Reaper or like the Repo Man, and I'm like, oh my god, it's real. Like,
oh my
I thought,
god, death
listen,
found you?
I'm so stupid. I thought Grim Reaper and Repo Man were the same person.
It's okay, spell segue. Then you'll feel really smart compared to me.
No comment. So another employee at the company who called her the Repo Woman remembers that Keene carried a gun, which happened to be a .38 revolver, which happened to be what Marlene was shot with. So next up, police were actually able to trace the balloons because they were so specific. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and You're the Greatest.
She's really not good. Like, I mean, like, not really being like subtle in a murder. Like, oh, I'm going to dress up as a vibrant clown with specific balloons. And I'm also going to carry the gun I use as the murder weapon. I'm going to keep it on me as well as the orange fibers from the wig.
It's not like you're like, oh, I'm going to buy some balloons and there will be generic red balloons. It's like, no, I will buy specific ones that say You're the Greatest and have a 70-year-old cartoon on them. Like, it's so
like,
bizarre.
Everything was so like, isn't the whole point to blend in? Like, that is not blending in.
Which is wild, because then they were like, oh, so they obviously looked to the husband first and they're like, did he dress up as a clown, go to his wife's house at breakfast? Like, it just was so bizarre. It wasn't like she just acts. Yeah, anyway, exactly that. So in a white Chrysler convertible, it's all just very weird. So anyway, because the balloons were so specific, they were able to trace them to a local Publix. You like Publix?
I love Publix.
I knew everyone was going to react to that because I also love Publix.
Sandwiches. Oh,
They're
man.
so good.
They're so good.
Publix Deli. So they also apparently sold Snow White balloons in 1990. And the employees there said that the buyer of the balloons was a white female with dark brown hair and big brown eyes. So again, matching Sheila's description. So police discovered the purchase at Publix was made at 9:22 a.m., which was an hour and a half before the shooting, and the store's location was a little more than half a mile away from Marlene's house. So obviously made perfect sense. So police also had a tentative... Okay, so police had a tentative ID at the costume shop from the person showing up and demanding, like, clown costumes after the store had closed. A description at the Publix grocery store. And after Marlene... It was actually really sad. After 2 days, her son and her best friend together had to decide to take life support off. And so I was reading the 48 hours transcript, and it was really sad. They were like, the best friend was like, yeah, Joe was just like devastated because they were saying his father or his stepfather, who had been his dad for 20 years, was like involved in his mother's killing. He was just gone because he was like, I didn't do it, and peaced out. And then his mom's in the hospital completely unconscious. And then they had to make the decision to like pull her off life support. And so 2 days later, they pulled her off life support and they were able to take the bullet out and match it to a .38 revolver. So there they had the bullet now. So they have the bullet, the description at the 2 stores, and all this is circumstantial evidence, but it was not enough to like fully connect Sheila to Marlene's murder or anyone to Marlene's murder. So 4 days after the shooting, 2 days after Joe and his family pulled the plug on his mother's life support, police found the white Chrysler in the parking lot of a local Winn-Dixie. They raid the car, and in the car they find orange synthetic hair from a wig, as well as strands of brown human hair. Within hours, they had a warrant to search Sheila's apartment. They didn't find a gun in the apartment, but Sheila's estranged husband had actually contacted police weeks earlier saying that Sheila told him she had misplaced his .38 revolver. So he had literally, she said, I misplaced your gun. And then he had called police before any of the shooting happened and said like,
oh my
hey,
gosh.
my wife said like our gun is missing. Like had reported it before anything even happened.
So wild.
It was already in the system that like she had misplaced it. A month before the murder. So then what police did find in the apartment was hair from the bathroom trash and more fucking orange fibers.
Jesus.
In her home, which
it's like dog hair at this point.
I was going to say, you clown people clearly know how to make a very shedding wig.
Yeah, we like to leave an impression.
Clearly. Yeah. Reportedly, investigators did run DNA on the hair and the fibers, but it was like 1990, so DNA evidence was still really new. The results were inconclusive. Prosecutors decided they couldn't make an arrest without risking too much on the arrest. But investigators were not done digging, so they ran a check on the Chrysler LeBaron and learned that it had actually been stolen.
Oh.
This is where shit gets even weirder. Get ready. So Bargain Motors was Mike's and Marlene's company. There was a company called Payless, which was another used car rental company that was a competitor. And Payless had actually accused Bargain Motors of intentionally trying to confuse customers by booking phone book ads that were like identical to Payless ads, which is so funny to me. They would like basically take out ads that were like almost exactly the same, but like the name of the company was
love
different.
it.
Right.
Yeah. Love a good knockoff.
Apparently it worked all the time.
Oh.
And basically a couple had rented the LeBaron, the Chrysler, from Payless, but then had mistakenly gone in the phone book and called this bargain company and saying like, oh, we're going to return the car. And apparently Bargain Motors said, yeah, just leave it on the street with the keys on the visor and we'll take care of it. So like they knew full well it wasn't their car, but they would have people drop the car off and be like,
love it.
We got it. And then just fucking take the car.
Shady.
Like so shady. Which was just so fucked up. So the same night before the murder is when this car had reportedly been quote unquote stolen.
Gotcha.
So after learning all this, investigators went into the Warrens' business, so the Bargain Motors, with a search warrant. But investigators were not able to prove Mike Warren stole the Chrysler, nor could they connect him to his wife's murder. But they did uncover evidence of widespread fraud in his business.
Uh-oh.
And he was actually arrested and ultimately charged with multiple counts of racketeering, grand theft auto, insurance fraud, and odometer tampering.
Ooh.
And it was like an insane fraud case. Like it was huge and super complex. And as prosecutors prepared for that trial, so then the murder investigation was happening like parallel to his fraud trial. And at the same time, Mike Warren and then Marlene's son Joe were like battling over Marlene's estate, which was like over $1 million. But like Joe was just 22 years old at this point, and he was like, my dad's a salesman and a car salesman. Like I can't compete with him, my stepdad or whatever. So he was basically left with pretty much nothing. And his dad got everything.
That sucks.
And he was out on his own. And then in the end, Mike was convicted of fraud, and he served nearly 4 years in prison for all of the
odometer tampering.
Yeah, all that racketeering.
All the Matilda's dad kind of stuff.
Yes, that's exactly what I picture.
Yeah,
for sure. All that racketeering. So he serves like several years in prison. And police never closed Marlene's case, but as the years passed, there was no sign of new evidence. So they just it kind of went cold. Ow.
Did you just hit your head on the mic?
Hit my glasses.
You're really good at hitting your face on the microphone.
I'm good at just injuring myself in any way, shape, or form. So ultimately, the case went cold. Fast forward 12 years, so it's 2012, and Mike is out of prison. And guess what?
What?
Mike and Sheila, so Sheila is the
Oh my
one,
God.
the
Yeah,
26-year-old mom. Mike and Sheila get married in Vegas and then move to Tennessee together. And I read a thing about the best friend, I think her name was Shirley, who was there when Marlene was murdered. It was like her son and Shirley were there at the house. And she was like, when I heard that Mike and Sheila got married, she's like, I wish someone had taken a photo of my face. Like, it was just so out there. Because, like, people were like, it was rumors that they were together and stuff. And then it kind of died down for 28 years. Like, it just, like, years later.
Oh, my gosh.
And then she's like, and then all of a sudden they're fucking married and moving to Tennessee together. Sheila changed her name to Debbie, which she claimed was a childhood nickname, even though every single person they've ever interviewed who knew her was like, she's never gone by that. Dyed her hair bleach blonde. They moved to Tennessee and opened a restaurant called the Purple Cow.
Uh-oh.
That's famous, right?
Yeah.
No.
I
Okay.
think it is. I'm pretty sure I've heard. I know there's an ice cream called the Purple Cow.
Yeah, I think that's a different thing.
That's like a milkshake with grape soda.
That's what I thought, because I looked up the Purple Cow on Facebook, and it has a really cheesy Facebook page, this restaurant in Tennessee, and it's not the same, I don't think.
No, when I hear Purple Cow, I thought, I gasped because I heard ice cream, and
Like
I got
root
really
beer
excited.
float, but with purple.
Right.
With grape soda.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different. And there's a German chocolate called Milka, which also uses purple cows on the logo.
Right.
And I got really excited too. It's not the same. Apparently,
Nope.
It's like a burger joint, basically. And it's weird because I went on their page and they still have photos of Mike like serving burgers and stuff because it's from, and it literally says like 5 years ago. And I'm like, Facebook is so old. Anyway, so they opened this restaurant called the Purple Cow, and then they operated that for several years, sold it in 2016, retired, and moved to Virginia. To a beautiful town in Virginia. I don't know what it's called. I looked literally everywhere. They bought a beautiful home in Virginia, and on September 27th, 2017, while the now 54-year-old Sheila Keene Warren was, I guess Debbie, was heading to Vermont to visit her mother, a U.S. Marshal pulled over her black Cadillac Escalade in Abingdon, Virginia. And arrested her for first-degree murder for the death of Marlene Warren.
Oh, boy.
So apparently, over the last 28 years where this case had gone cold, there were still investigators in Florida working on it and trying to solve it. And advancements in DNA had finally, and apparently in the 90s, even though this was like early 90s, even now investigators say like they did an amazing job of collecting DNA, even though it wasn't useful at the time.
Wow.
Like now they had so much evidence that they were able to like use current technology and link it to her immediately. So,
Oh, cool.
thank God. So, basically the hairs they took from her car, from the white Chrysler and the wig, like the white car that had been abandoned, they were able to take her hair and connect it to her. So they finally had a rock solid case against Sheila, and I guess she was arrested wearing capri pants,
Wow.
like platform flip-flops.
I mean, that is a fucking crime.
I know. I was like, I want to see a photo. This is out of a sitcom.
Fashion, please. They're the one who pulled her over.
Fashion, please don't talk about that show ever again.
Did Joan Rivers just come out in Abington, Virginia and be like, get in the back of the car?
Like, probably. And when I did work on that show, if that is how we operated, it would have been way more fun. And somebody, Eva, write that down, make that a show.
Like Joan Rivers and cops.
Oh my God, a crossover episode.
Yeah.
That would be so fun.
Can you imagine a crossover of fashion police and actual cops?
No, I'm imagining it now, and it's the greatest
It's like,
thing.
so you have drugs in your car and you're wearing double denim? Get in the car. Bad boys, bad boys.
Oh, what you gonna do when Joan Rivers comes for you? Oh, what a good time, guys. Oh, R.I.P. Okay, so she apparently was super talkative while getting arrested in her flip-flops and capris.
She's probably trying to tell us all about how she got them at Claire's.
Was also wearing an aqua teal
Shut the
tank
hell up.
top. Not even joking. It's like out of a fucking movie. It's like a description.
It's like Lizzie McGuire's.
Yeah.
Lizzie McGuire's bully was like popping up.
Yes.
Yep.
Had aged 60 years and still thought she was a fucking badass.
Yeah.
So she was extremely talkative. She asked a million questions, including, where are we going? Is my husband under arrest? What am I under arrest for? What's going on? At the sheriff's office, she made small talk with everyone around her until she was finally told the news. She was accused of being the shooter in the 27-year-old clown murder. She put her head on the desk and declined to say another word for the next day.
I like how she truly had no clue up until they had to say it. And then she was like, oh, I should have kept my mouth shut this whole time.
The whole time she's like, what could it possibly be? Oh, the murder that I fucking
that just shows
did?
True, just shameless, guilt-free, carefree.
After 27 years, like, she just was like, oh.
She was like, oh, I'm off the hook, so what could this possibly be?
What could a fucking U.S. Marshal be arresting me for and not telling me and bringing me to maximum security? Yeah. God damn it. So currently, did you find Purple Cow? Oh, that's it. That's the teal. That's the teal.
There it is. Oh, yeah. Aqua teal. What's
the
up?
aqua teal tank top.
Should have arrested those capris right off of her.
They cut off the capris before we saw the capris, which annoys me. But there is a photo of her wearing... Look, but she's smiling. This is also...
Ugh.
This one right here is her...
Oh, yeah.
That's apparently... The caption for that is something like, Sheila was smiling after her arrest in Virginia. I'm like, wait. I mean, come on. That's her...
She looks so chipper.
Chipper. Like peppy.
She looks really excited about it.
Yeah. So that happened. So she was charged with first-degree murder. Prosecutors are currently seeking the death penalty, they've said, against Sheila. Joe Aarons, who was Marlene's son, declined to speak with 2020 when they contacted him, but he did tell a local affiliate that the news of Sheila's arrest was, quote, a big shock, but that the arrest has made him happier than I've been in many years.
Well, that's good.
Apparently he really struggled after, watching his mother
get murdered by a clown,
get shot in the mouth. He literally said clowns, everything. Can you imagine? God. People are like, I'm scared of clowns. And it's like
no, he's actually
this guy fucking saw a clown show up at his doorstep at 10:30 in the morning while he's eating fucking Captain Crunch and shot his mom in the face.
Oh my God.
And he apparently really struggled, and then his dad took all the money from her estate, so he didn't even get enough money to survive on. So he really struggled with drugs and dependency issues and etc. And now I went on Generation Y's blog post, and they had a picture of his status, his Facebook status that he had posted, good news, they finally caught my mom's killer. And so I went and found his Facebook because I'm crazy, and I went and found his Facebook. And I looked through it, and it was interesting because he was posting about all the 2020, every time a new episode aired, he was go watch this. There's new updates. He has 2 adorable little sons. He has started his own construction company, which he said was so after many decades of just really struggling with drugs and even trying to make a living, and he went through a divorce and he had a hard time, but I guess he started his own construction company. He said his mom was the one who every time something was broken in the house, she would fix it, and she was able to fix it. And if she wasn't able to fix it,
so that's why that's why he made a construction company.
Yeah. Well, he said, and so every time if something was broken and she couldn't fix it, she would hire someone to fix it and then make him sit there with her and watch and learn how to fix it. Aww. So he said through his whole childhood, he was able to learn. She taught him to learn how to fix things, and so now he has his own construction company. And he said she inspired that, which is really cool. Aww. So he's doing really well, relatively. And he said that the arrest was really big for him and gave him a lot of closure. But he also said the nights are the hardest, and I struggled for many decades just trying to even get a good night's sleep, which just fuck yeah. So Marlene's mother is also still alive, and she thinks about her daughter every day. And there was a photo of her with, this was weird, 2 paintings of clowns, and she said when Marlene was little, she got these paintings of clowns and they were her favorite thing. And she said she got these when she was 10 years
old.
Isn't
that in hindsight the eeriest thing in the world?
It is. It's so creepy.
I wonder if the things I lived as children are going to be my matchmaker,
Sugar Bush the squirrel.
Oh.
It will be your end.
Oh my, well,
I just see him over your shoulder, and that's all I can think about.
Just leering.
But yeah, so there's these 2 oil paintings of clowns, and she's when she was 10, these were her prized possessions. They were in her room, and she loved them. She's and I can't bring myself to throw them away just because I know how much she loved them. And she said something every time I pass, I kind of laugh at this point because I'm oh, she knows, she's here with me, and it's just wow.
Yeah, I'm sure she's laughing.
Yeah, maybe not, but so Sheila Keene Warren was extradited, or / Debbie, her quote-unquote childhood nickname, was extradited to Palm Beach County and appeared at a bond hearing on October 4th of this last year, so 2017. Mike, her husband, vehemently denies his current wife's involvement in his former wife's death and says she has been falsely accused. As of April of this year, so 2.5 months ago. A trial date has not been set. And at this point, all we know is that the prosecution is seeking the death penalty.
Wow.
And I went on the website of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
The Arrow.
Right. Yeah.
Whatever. And I'm just scrolling through, and then I see this line, and it's just like, oh, man. It says, with only 2 attractively lighted and landscaped entrances into this community, you can rest assured you and your family will have that secure and comfortable feeling when you come home.
Yikes.
And that's the end of their website. And it's like, ouch. So
super creepy.
That is the story of Marlene Warren's death and Sheila's crazy clown murder. It turns out Sheila also, when she was younger, used to perform as a child clown entertainer. So that was her first go-to when she was like, I need a costume. I know.
Oh, no.
I'll paint my whole face white and show up with Snow White balloons.
Ugh.
So
Gross.
that's that.
Wow.
I can't believe I could not find an episode about this anywhere. I was like, I want to hear someone else
that's
talk.
wild.
I thought that was bonkers. I was thinking of saving that like for
A live show?
yeah, or like, but then I was like, when will we be in like Palm Beach, Florida?
Right.
I don't know. I thought about it, but then I was like, I just kind of want to tell it now because I know about it now.
Right.
I want to talk about it. So that's the story.
Wild. I like that. That was a good one.
Okay. After this ad, I'm going to give you guys the best geoscope ever, and we're going to give you some
Oh, man.
fun news. Okay.
Okay.
Grantland alumni Molly Lambert, Tess Lynch, and Emily Yoshida bring you a weekly podcast to keep you company during lonely nights and strange days.
It's a podcast as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the meeting place between alien documentaries and Frasier.
That's where I live.
I mean, yeah.
Between breaking pop culture news and, wait, how did Molly think Billy Joel was Italian? Very good question.
It's a brand new podcast from Audio Boom called Night Call.
Every Monday, our bi-coastal hosts sit down for a free jazz blend of pop culture, internet culture, and just enough half-baked conspiracies to keep things interesting.
Like, is Paddington 2 really just an allegory for Brexit?
Listen, my guess is yes. Do Greenland sharks actually live to be 800 years old? Also probably yes.
I think so, yes. And how many of your apps are secretly recording everything you say?
Everyone.
Joke, what a trick.
Come on.
The NSA is in control of every single
Listen,
one of
we
them.
each have our own personal...
That was easy.
And
moving forward.
Wow, what an easy pop quiz. Have a burning question you need answered or a conspiracy theory you just can't crack?
Drop them a line with your night call at 240-46-NIGHT. That's 240-466-4448. And they'll offer their best advice on life, love, and the coming apocalypse, which we all know is nearby.
Yeah, we need that advice.
Ugh.
I've been listening to Night Call recently, and it's highly entertaining. They really do take calls and like address just
about anything.
and they're very intelligent. Like it's really fun to hear them talk because they're just like really, really smart. So it's like you feel like you're actually like having a conversation with really smart friends
and getting an answer.
It's fun to listen to. So I highly recommend it. Night Call is available now on Apple Podcasts and all other listening destinations. So please go check it out. So although Eva is in charge of our email now, I like a lot of the time just troll it like a crazy person. And she's just like, hi, I'm doing this job. And I'm like, but I'm just going to sit here and just creepily go through the emails
Just
anyway.
eagle eye it anyway.
'Cause I'm a psychopath.
Sorry, Eva.
Sorry. So today, someone sent, I just saw in the subject, geoscope. And I was like, well, we're recording tonight. Yeah, he was like, I know, I saw this too. And I saw this in the inbox and I was like, well, we're recording. So I'm just going to take it and run with it. So this is from Anke L, which is weird because I also know an Anke L in Cincinnati. So that's kind of a strange thing. But she sent in an onion Scorpio horoscope for Geo today. And I'm going to read it to you. Truth be told, you haven't been a very good father.
Oh.
I guess that's to Juniper. I don't know. But it's not your fault that the mothers of your children haven't yet informed you of their existence.
So Gio's a daddy?
Apparently to babies all over the world.
Wow. That means there's going to be some cute little baby puppies.
But it also means he hasn't been a very good father, which I think is bullshit because...
I mean, he's been a good father. He's been a good pseudo big brother.
He's been a big brother.
Yes.
He's been a good big brother.
He's a great nephew.
He's a great nephew to...
He's a great sweet bad
Funko M. And what else?
Oh, well, you didn't tell the geoscope.
That was the geoscope, but I'll find another one.
Oh, that was it? Just like you're a dad?
That was the weird onion scope. Here, I'll find a real one. Okay. So that was the onions version. Now I'm going to read you the real horoscope.
Okay.
So here we go. Okay, so now here's from horoscope.com. This is Geo's horoscope. Stop trying to feel everyone else's emotions and really feel your own, Scorpio.
Aw.
I just picture him with his cone and his cast.
Stop feeling shame,
He's
but
so
then embrace
sad.
the shame.
He's so ouchy. Being empathetic to others' needs is charitable, but you need to face the music and look at yourself.
In the cone.
This is so sad.
Oh, no.
Make a clear distinction between your needs and those of others. Express your feelings to those around you. Ask for help if you need it. He can't. He's a puppy. Okay, I'm going to start crying like a psycho.
He needs help scratching behind his cone.
Oh my God. Other people aren't mind readers. They probably have no idea what you feel.
Oh.
The end.
Oh my God, so dark.
That was so dark. What the fuck?
You're a father and an embarrassment.
You should be ashamed. This is so sad.
Look at yourself in the mirror.
Oh my God. This is just so
Baby
sad.
G, such a babe.
This is the career horoscope for Gio.
Oh yeah, let's see if his business is booming.
People are working at cross purposes to your efforts within your workplace, aka our podcast.
Yeah.
Someone's careless actions are making it.
Mommy's drinking. Finish the sentence.
are making it difficult for you to do your job.
Yes.
Perhaps information was not disseminated accurately. Approach the problem with a good attitude.
Aw. He's like, look, I'm just trying to be the star, and you're really upstaging me.
Oh man.
All right.
Your employment sector may be a bit unstable. Move slowly and carefully and make no unnecessary demands. That is for sure, with that fucking paw wrapped up. Anyway, so thanks, guys. That was the geoscope of the day.
Yes.
I just can't. We'll see you in person on July, what is it, 22nd? Yeah, July 23rd. Oh, I just mean for the Facebook Live, sorry.
Oh, July 22nd.
Yeah, if you're a Patreon donor, we'll see you on July 22nd.
Yes.
Otherwise, we'll see you, when's our next show? August
3rd and August 4th in Nashville at Zany's.
Come to Nashville. Eva will be there. It'll be super fun.
Yes.
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 Okay, tell them all about or where they can find us.
You can find us at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ATWWD Podcast. You can also find our website, and that's why we drink.com. You can also find our merch site, and that's why we drink.bigcartel.com. You can also email us at and that's why we drink at gmail.com, where you can submit your own personal true crime and paranormal stories, because we do a listeners episode at the first of every month. Mm-hmm. You can also donate to our Patreon at ATWWD Podcast. You can please rate and subscribe and review.
Oh, it's huge, please.
It's super helpful. Is that it? I feel like there's usually more.
I feel like I wasn't listening, so.
Go get our tickets for shows.
Oh, yeah. Come to our website, and that's why we drink.com. You can find all our serious talking. You can find all our tickets there, our merch and everything. Our weird bios about ourselves, all that good stuff is there. So check it out. That's all I got.
Me too.
Okay.
And
that's
why
we
drink.
Woo! Bye.